crafty friends. Today is Monday, September 25th, 2023. This is Diane, the Creative Inkster, and I'm so glad you're here with me. I'm going to be doing a Creative Escape, which is our Monday get-together. And what I've been doing lately is pulling some cards out of my stash. Now, this one I did not personally make. I received in a swap, but don't know from whom anymore. And we are going to recreate it with some current products or some products that are in my stash. And what I'm challenging you to do is grab the layout and find your own materials, whether they're floral or whatever. Pick your papers, your embellishments, and let's make this card together. So if you're watching live, please let me know in the comments. Love to hear that you're here along with me. And if you're watching the replay, similarly, let me know you've been here. So how was your weekend? I hope you had a great one. It was beautiful weather here in Southern Ontario, and I had a very busy and social weekend. Great fun, and I'll tell you a little bit about that. So for this card tonight, I am going to use the Darling Details stamp set. So any floral is definitely going to be able to, in some fashion, replicate this card. It doesn't have to be the same size, and to be honest, I'm not even sure which stamp this is. It's been around for a little while. So grab what you've got. I'm going to do my card base. This was done in Petal Pink, I believe, and I'm going to use Lemon Lolly, which is such a pretty color. And I'm going to do this card exactly the same way, opening this way. So we take our card base that's 11 by 8.5, and we cut it in half. So here's your 11 by 8.5. You cut your card here at 5.5, your card stock, and then you end up with two card bases. What I typically like to do, though, is to score it first, so that I'm scoring at 4 1/4 on the short side. Whoops, my score blade just went flying onto the floor. There we go, let's pull it back. And then I turn it long way, and I'll cut it at 5.5. And then I'll have two card bases with a second one ready to go at any moment. So I'll put that back in my stash. And then I want to do my layer on here, and I didn't want to do white on white. I was deciding I would go with some lemon, what is this color? This is Lost Lagoon. Actually, you know what? I'm going to change my mind. Is that okay? Is that allowed? I'm going to switch up. I'm going to do Lost Lagoon as my card base. And I'll tell you why in a second. So, hang in there because I'm always changing my mind. All right, so it's 4 1/4 Hi Vicky by 11, scored at 5.5. So we fold that in half, and there's your standard card base. Let's get the bone folder out here and give it a nice press. Boom, we're good to go. And then I had these in my stash, and this is Lemon Lolly already embossed, and I had it in my stash because I prepped for a class, but I did not need to emboss the pieces first, but I went ahead and did that. So I have a bunch of embossed pieces I want to use up. So my Lemon Lolly card bases that I just cut, they'll go into my bin, and I know I will use them. So here we are with our card base, and here we have a piece of white, so let's trim that down a little bit to go on the inside. So usually I like to put my interior layer, hi Brenta, to 4 by 5 1/4. So I'm going to cut a white to 4 by 5 1/4. We're going to stick that inside. Might do a little stamping on it too. And then from another piece of white, we are going to do these three pieces. But as you can see, they've been stamped and then cut, and that's kind of important. So the piece that we need to cut it to is 3 1/4 by 4 1/8. So let's cut 3 1/4 this way, the long way, on the paper. And then we'll cut this to 4 1/8. And then we will do our stamping, and then we'll trim it down. So these individual pieces get cut down to, just look for my ruler here, they're cut down to 1 3/8 when we're done. Follow me? All right, hopefully that's not too complicated. Let's grab some ink. So corresponding ink-wise, I was trying to kind of go with what was on the sample card. So I wanted a green, so that's where Lost Lagoon came in. And I wanted, this is Petal Pink, and so I am going to use the Lemon Lolly in that place. And then for this color here, which I can't recall which one that is, I'm going to use a stamped off version of Calypso Coral and Gray Granite for my greeting at the bottom. So that's my 4 inks that I'm going to use here. We'll just stick those pieces to the side. Let's work on this 3 1/4 by 4 1/8 piece. All righty. Gonna find some flowers. So let's find a large one. This is a 2-step stamp, which means you do this first one and then you put this inside. So let me show you on some scrap what kind of happens with that to give you an idea. Because sometimes with the 2-step stamping, the interior piece is already has some texture on it and it's a little lighter. Sometimes you need to stamp it off. So we want to play with that and see what this stamp set's going to do for us. So here is the outline, and this larger flower is going to be in Lemon Lolly. It's not a particularly bright color. So maybe what I'll do actually is use the Calypso Coral for the large one. Alrighty, so that's my piece that I need to do the final stamping on. Let's just have a little go at this for fun. So we have this one here, that's full strength stamping. And as it dries, it will change a little in texture. It'll be a little lighter in color. Let's move this out of the way. And here is the inside piece for the 2-step stamping. And we're going to see what happens when we stamp right over. So we're going to ink it up, and then we're going to stamp right over top, and it fits around this first level we've already done. So we're going to go full strength, and we're going to see just how dark and deep in tone that is. And it's pretty dark. So I know that it's going to lighten up a little bit. Oops, sorry. And so I'm going to try it now by stamping this off first once. So let's get some scratch paper onto which we can do some stamping off. And we'll go in again. We'll do the original one. Now it is lightening up. As it's drying, you see how it's lightening up and the first stamping is coming out a little bit darker. But let's do the other one anyway and just see what we come up with. So there's our outline. And then here is our inside piece. I'm going to stamp it off once, as evenly as I can, and then I'm going to go back in here and fill in this spot. Let's see, that looks fairly good. Oh, I like that a lot more. Look at how much lighter that is. So there's the natural lighting pieces here because the stamp has it built in that there's some lighter spots. You can kind of see them there. And I like this a lot more. So again, another minute or two of drying time, and that one looks vastly different than our first go at it. But I'm going to use this one. Okay, so let me just, I need this for stamping off, so let me just tuck that piece over here for reference. Go back to my original piece that I need, which is 3 1/4 wide by 4 1/8 tall. Perfect. All right, and I'll put something underneath. I'm going to put some scratch paper underneath just for giggles here. All right, so I want this to kind of go a little bit off the page to mimic that one. All right, away we go. We're ready to do the real deal now, for real this time. So there's our outline. Here's our inside of the 2-step, one stamping off, and then one inside. Pretty, pretty. We have some leaves in here too. So there's different kinds of leaves. This one is, again, some two-step stamping. Oops, that's not a leaf. Hold on, that's a flower. So there's a couple of options. Let's see here. How would I want that to land? I'd like that to be, we're going to do a whole bunch of two-step stamping here. I think that's going to be quite pretty. All right, so we've got our big flower, and we want our greeting down here, so we'll leave that space open. So let's do this leaf here. It doesn't have an outline, so we don't have to worry about that. We'll grab our Lost Lagoon. We'll have a little practice go, and see how that shows up. So it's a little bit dark, but not too bad. So we will add a little greenery coming out of this flower, and then some coming this way. This may turn out great. This may not be exactly what I'm looking for, but we don't know till we try, right? Gotta give it a go. There we go. So we got some of that coming out there. We're gonna get our greeting on. Oops, we need to clean this one because it's kind of messy. And then we're going to go up in the corners with Lemon Lolly and this other flower up here. This is quite pretty. Hi Connie, thanks for popping in. So we're replicating this card here. We're going to do some two-step stamping. I'm cleaning these as I go here and putting them away so we don't need to have 40 blocks out here to do one card. Oops, clean that. There we go. So we've got this one in Lolly, and we're going to do the same thing. We're going to do full strength. It's nice and bright, and full strength. And then we'll grab the inside piece of this. So I used this stamp set, Darling Details, the whole bundle actually, in my Avid Stampers class last month. We made completely different cards and used the two-step in different ways. This is pretty bright. There we go. There we are. And then we'll just try and find there's some little leaves. I kind of wish I'd done that one instead. But let's add that one anyway. This is just a sample. This is trying new stuff out and having fun. Sometimes we overthink it. So if you're doing this with me, let me know what stamp set you're using. I'm curious to know what you have come up with. I might like to try your version too. So let's get a little more green happening here, green action. So we'll get our Lost Lagoon back. I don't know, I always close my ink pads as I'm working because I'm so worried I'm going to pull my paper right across it or something like that, and I just don't want that to happen. Just always worried that sort of thing's going to ruin my card, so I keep them closed. Add some greenery around these. So that is the outline, and we're going to take the corresponding inside piece for the two-step. We're going to stamp it off, and we're going to put it in down here. These line up really well because they're photopolymer, so you can see right through the clear stamps. And with this technique of stamping off once, if you're a little bit off, because I'll be honest, my eyesight's not always the best, it's no big deal because it's going to have that watercolor look, so you don't have to get too excited about it. All right, so there we go with those ones. And now we got to pick a greeting and pop that on in gray granite. Super nice. So that's what I thought it was used on this card. It could be smoky slate, so I'm going to try a stamped off version. And let's see, what do we have? We have Oh, I don't like that greeting. We have thank you. We have hello there. How are we going to do this? We're going to do it this way. I wanted a bigger one. Happy birthday. I always need birthday cards, so happy birthday would be nice. All right, so we're going to go and take a look and see if we do full strength. That's how the color comes up. And if we do stamp off, that's how, oh, too light. Yeah, we definitely need to go full strength. And if you put it on to your card and it doesn't go on evenly and it mucks up, here's what I do with my one class where that happens sometimes. The ladies, maybe their hand isn't steady enough and they end up with their greeting where they don't want it or it smudges, is we'll just cut a layer or an oval, punch an oval, cut a die, and re-stamp it and put it over top. And it usually turns out quite nicely. We even do it, so my class there, they have one of my really old stamps that says, made just for you. I mean, it's red rubber. I've had it. It was the old kind that didn't stay on the blocks really well. I have had it forever, and they just put it on the back of all of their cards, made just for you. And sometimes it doesn't get on there straight, so we just even put a layer on the back. So that can be done too. All right, and then this is going to go, we're going to try to do a little stamping on the inside. Why don't we, it says happy birthday card. So I really do like this big one. This one's really pretty. So I want to put this on the inside of my card too, but I'm going to do this one in Lemon Lolly and Calypso Coral. So how we do that, and we're going to just try it and see how it looks. So we're going to take the outline one and we're going to put that here. We'll let it dry a wee bit. Should dry fairly quickly, but you know, it may not. And then we're going to take the inside piece and we're going to put Lemon Lolly on the inside and see how that looks. And I think we'll stamp off once. Yes, because that's pretty bright. And we'll add this to the inside like that. And there, we have a little bit of a two-tone color going on the inside. And this is where I'll put some of those green leaves. And I think I'll stamp them off too. Boston Blue's a bit darker than I was remembering. Okay. Get rid of that. And we'll grab this one. And how dark does that go? Cut that nice and light. Now it doesn't, it goes sort of one way, so that's fine. There. And just add a little bit of greenery to the bottom of that. Done. Now we want to trim this guy down to a little bit smaller. Not this piece, this one here. So we're going to cut them to 1 3/8. There's 1 1/2, so 1 3/8. So where's the paper trimmer? Starting at the top, 1 3/8. And then we'll cut this one to 1 3/8. And then we're going to spread them apart on the front of the card. Here's our card base. And we'll grab our glue, put our inside piece down. Sometimes I do, most of the time I put the inside piece in, but sometimes I found that if I'm writing them, I might not want to put that white piece in until I'm done writing, because if you ever started to write it and it doesn't really turn out exactly what you wanted to say, and you don't want to have to pull it off, but if you've got this piece done separately and then you glue it in when you're done, well, that works a little bit better. All right, here is that Lemon Lolly, which I had embossed inadvertently. So that's going to go on the front. And this embossing folder, if you're curious, it's a 3-pack. They're on the online store only. So that means they're just not in a catalog. Doesn't mean you can't buy them. Even if you're a demonstrator, you can still buy them through the Demonstrator website. You just need the item number. It's just that they're not going to be in any catalog. So the three different patterns are in one package. And you can find them in the online exclusives. All right, so then we're going to add these like this. So typically, this one was popped up. Let's try that. Let's see how that's going to go. And typically, I start at the top, do the top, the bottom, and then fit the middle one in, because then I at least know it's going to be equidistant top and bottom, or a better chance of it being equidistant top and bottom. Not always perfect, but that's what I go for. So there's that. I kind of eyeball where this one's going to land, and then I get this one in place. So I have about the same border at the top and the bottom. Just going to move this down a little bit more, so I'm leaving a little bit more of a border in between them. That's okay. Get 4 dimensionals here. So a few more dimensionals than you might use otherwise on a panel, but I think the effect is going to be quite nice and worth it. All right, so there's this piece. So if I do the top and the bottom, I just have a better chance of getting this to land with the same amount of space in between. Usually that works well for me. The tricks we play with our eyes. It does, doesn't it? Lemon Lolly is a really pretty color, and it goes so well with Lost Lagoon. I find Lost Lagoon a lot darker color than I expect, but when I put it with a color like Lolly and the Calypso, it tones it down a wee bit for some reason. Okay, so let's squeeze you in here. There we go. All right, so that looks fairly even. All right, so there's our split card. Now we're going to add some embellishments. We have iridescent rhinestones, which I think was done on the original. I just have this amount left, so it usually isn't enough for a class, but is enough to finish off some cards with. So I'll just put a couple in here. Grab my Take Your Pick tool and put one up here and one here, and I'm using the medium size ones of these, and then one down here. Just kind of spreads them out nicely, and there we have it, a really pretty birthday card. I hope you like that. I thought it was a nice one to easily copy and make my own this time. And there we have it. I think we're going to add a little something though. So I'm going to bring my scratch paper in so I don't muck up this lovely brand new piece of white. So we're going to add a little pizzazz to this. This little tool is called the Wink of Stella, and it has, it's like if you haven't used it before, it's a glitter brush. So you can color over items. I'm just going to see if you can see that. You might have a flower that you want to add some sparkle to. See that? So you just color over it and add sparkle, and it's like it's dry. So what I like to do with it is splatter. So we're going to splatter. So if it's not coming out, you need to just push here, and that'll add some more in the chamber. But I can see mine's coming out fairly well. Oh yeah, put the paper down and moved it out of the way. Here we go. So something you can do, I'm just putting the brush in the lid and giving it a little flick. Not pressing too hard. Just adding a little sparkle here and there. And you can see it shimmering a little bit, I hope. Maybe it needs a little more. I can see it, it's starting to dry. And then if you really wanted to sparkle it up, you can go over these little dots in the flowers, and that adds a little bit more to them too. You don't even have to just do the dots. I mean, you could do it in a big circular motion. And there. So pretty. All right, we've jazzed it up a little bit. taken the original and jazzed it up. Well, there you go, splatter. Yep, use your stuff in different ways. So thanks for watching. Thanks for being along with me. Let me know if you make yours and copy this at all. Feel free to post it along with mine. I'd love to see your creations. It's wonderful. Have a wonderful evening. Enjoy this nice warmer weather we're having. Let's take it while we can. I'll be back on Wednesday with What's Up Wednesday, 7 o'clock. See you then. Bye for now.